Ever wondered how a country with over 1 billion people actually, well, works? How does it all hold together? Today, we're going to peel back the layers of the Indian government, and I promise we'll make it simple. Let's dive right in. Think about your day for a second. You follow rules pretty much everywhere, right? At home, at school, even just crossing the street. They're there to keep things orderly and fair, to give us a structure so we all know what to expect. Okay, now let's scale that idea way, way up. Imagine trying to keep things from turning into total chaos in a nation with more than 1 billion people. You can't just wing it. You need a rock-solid system. These rules aren't just suggestions. They're the actual framework that holds the entire society together. So, here's our game plan. First, we'll touch on why we even need these rules. Then, we'll look at how power is split between two different governments. After that, we'll explore the 3 main pillars that hold everything up, see how laws get made, figure out who's in charge of running things, and finally, meet the guardians who make sure everyone follows the law.
All right, first things first. Let's start at the very beginning. Why does a country as huge and diverse as India need such a detailed set of rules in the first place?
The whole system is built on one incredible document, the Constitution. Think of it as the ultimate rulebook. It lays out all the rights and responsibilities for every single citizen, and here's a wild fact for you. It's the longest written constitution on the entire planet. That just shows you how complex and diverse the nation is that it was designed to govern. But, having a rule book is one thing. Actually managing a country this big from just one city, that's basically impossible. So how did they solve that problem? The solution is what's called a federal system. Instead of putting all the power in one place, it's shared. You have the main national government, and then you have government for each of India's 28 states and 8 union territories. So it's kind of like a 2-level system. So how do they split up the work? Well, the central government in New Delhi handles the really big picture stuff. Things like defending the country from attack, dealing with other nations, and managing issues that affect everyone. The state governments, on the other hand, take care of things closer to home, like local policing and public order within their own borders. Now, let's zoom in on that central government. It isn't just one giant organization. It's actually built on 3 separate, really important pillars that work together to keep the country running. It's all about a clear separation of jobs. It's pretty simple when you break it down. First, you have the legislature. Their job is to make the laws. Second, the executive. Their job is to implement those laws. And third, the judiciary. They uphold the laws, kind of like a referee. So, make, implement, uphold. Let's look at each one.
Let's start with the first pillar, the legislature. This is the part of government where all the rules for the whole country are actually written and debated.
And this right here is the nerve center, the Parliament of India. This is where it all happens. But it's not just one big room of people. It's actually made of 2 separate houses. So Parliament is divided into 2 parts. You've got the Lok Sabha, which is called the House of the People, because its members are elected directly by citizens like you and me every 5 years. Then there's the Rajya Sabha, or the upper house. Its members are chosen by the state governments to make sure the states have a voice. They also serve for a longer time, 6 years.
Now, the Rajya Sabha has this really unique feature. The president gets to nominate 12 of its members. And these aren't your typical politicians. They're usually experts from different fields, like artists, scientists, or writers. The idea is to bring some specialized, non-political brain power into the lawmaking process.
Okay, so the legislature makes the laws, but a law on paper doesn't really do anything, right? Someone has to actually put it into practice. And that brings us to our second pillar, the executive. At the very, very top of the executive branch is the President of India. This person is the official head of the country, sort of like the nation's #1 citizen. They're also the supreme commander of the military, and they serve a 5-year term.
And this stunning building? This is the Rashtrapati Bhavan, the president's official home. It's so much more than a residence, though. It's a powerful symbol of the highest office in the Indian government.
Okay, here's a super important distinction. While the president is the head of the country, the prime minister is the head of the government. See the difference? After an election, the president invites the leader of the party that won the most votes to become the prime minister. That person then puts together the team that actually runs the country day to day.
So we've seen how laws are made and who puts them into action. But what happens if someone breaks a law? Or if people disagree on what a law even means? That's where our third and final pillar is absolutely crucial, the judiciary.
You can think of the judiciary as the guardian of the Constitution. Its main job is to make sure that everybody, and I mean everybody, from a regular person all the way up to the government itself, follows the law. It's the system that delivers justice and makes sure the rules apply to everyone.
And at the very top of this entire judicial system, you'll find the Supreme Court of India.
The Supreme Court is the highest court in the land, which means its decisions are final. The buck stops there. But maybe its most critical job is to act as a check on power. The court makes sure that any law Parliament passes is constitutional and doesn't violate or misuse the fundamental rights of any citizen.
So there you have it, the three pillars that make the laws, carry them out, and guard them. Which leads to one final thought. What would happen if that third pillar, the judiciary, just wasn't there? Without a guardian of the law, what would stop anyone from breaking the rules? It's a sobering thought that really shows you just how vital and maybe even fragile this whole system is.